And so England have found their successor to Southgate. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday's ESPN FC Live. Mark Donaldson, Shaka Hislop, James Olley. No need for the introductions for this pair as yet. We're going to get straight to it. James Olley has hot-footed it back from Wembley Stadium. Thomas Tuchel was appointed earlier today, held his press conference. And guess who had the first question to Mr. Thomas Tuchel? It was our very own James Olley. Let's hear.
Hi, Thomas. Congratulations. It's been widely reported that you've signed an 18-month contract. Is that true, firstly? And secondly, if so, how do you feel about potentially only having one shot at a tournament?
Well, let's see. It's 18 months, and then we agreed to sit together, and then we see. I mean, I have good experience with 18 months personally. Unfortunately, also sometimes I'm working on my long-term game, but you never know. The point was in this particular case that it was important for me to have a frame around it, because it's a little bit a step into the unknown for me. I am used to work on a daily basis with the staff. I'm used to work with a daily basis on the team, to have the influence on 60, 80 people in a training camp on every single day, to be 3 days a week away in hotel rooms and prepare matches. And this will be very different. So like the last piece of bit for me to understand that this is something that can really excite me to the fullest, and was the time frame of 18 months. To not also and to also to demand from myself to not lose the focus for all of us. So I think it's a good time frame, because it will help us to focus. We are focused on the qualification and on the World Cup. It will help us in the nomination process. It will help us in the communication towards the players within the staff. So I think this is now very streamlined and very easy to explain. We are here to work on the best possible outcome for the World Cup 26, and then let's see. Whatever comes.
Okay, James, how was your first experience of Thomas Tuchel, England manager?
Yeah, good. I mean, nice to see him again in some respects. I mean, obviously, I've covered him a lot when he was at Chelsea, and he's always good in a press conference. His answers are detailed and long, as they were there. But yeah, I thought he handled himself very well. And the reason why I kind of asked about the contract situation is because I think it sort of strikes to the heart of what an agreement this is on all sides. You know, this is a short-term decision based solely on winning and nothing else. And it marks a shift really for the Football Association, because obviously Gareth Southgate was very much a kind of continuity candidate in many regards when he got the job, insofar as he was an FA man. He'd been, he'd come through sort of the coaching regime at St George's Park. I know he'd been a manager before that, but I mean, he'd worked at St George's Park for a number of years, and he was an FA guy. And what he did in those 8 years was take England very, very close and increase their level of expectation that got them to a point where people now expect England to go and win these tournaments. And okay, they almost did that in the summer, but they kind of did it almost in spite of themselves. You know, they didn't play well. It was the mood around the camp wasn't great. Yes, they got to the final and they almost pulled it off, but it just felt as though they were missing something. And in the FA's view, that is now that Southgate's no longer in the picture, just that elite coach who, as he said in that answer there, wanted a very simple, very focused, very narrow target, which is 18 months, 15 or so meaningful matches, and if you're taking qualification and then the tournament itself, and one target, and that is it, to win the World Cup. And this is a departure really from how England managers have talked in the past, how the FA have talked in the past. And Tuchel, as he says there, it's a step into the unknown for him in terms of understanding international football. He doesn't know necessarily if his methods can work. But I think all parties are going into this with their eyes open. It's not as if the FA have gone and said, right, have a 5-year contract, or Tuchel's even wanted to have that. I think they've all said, look, we've got a group of players here we think can go and win this tournament. This is an elite manager who's got a good track record of bringing teams together and winning things in a short time frame. As he says, it doesn't tend to go longer than 18 months or 2 years very often. So let's put 2 and 2 together and hope it makes 4.
Okay, Shaka, 10 candidates were interviewed according to the FA chief executive. Firstly, do they have the best one available? And secondly, is this a gamble? Because he's never done international football before.
Oh, the second part is easier to answer. Certainly, it is a gamble. But then it's a gamble that most national teams take. When national teams, regardless of who they are, regardless of their expectation or anything of the sort, start interviewing candidates to take over as the head coach, more times than not, at least 85-90% of that shortlist would not have managed at international level, and it's pretty much a job that most learn kind of as it goes along. So I don't see that as being an issue or a determining factor as to who was the best candidate. I think Thomas Tuchel has proven himself to be an incredible manager, and yes, he's had some stumbles along the way, but who hasn't? But given his successes, and I'm thinking primarily at Chelsea before the takeover, and well, in my opinion, I think an unfair dismissal, or at the very least, desperately premature. So I have no problem with Thomas Tuchel as an England manager. I understand the concerns, maybe because I understand the English fan mindset. It's not one I necessarily share, especially coming from Trinidad and Tobago. But I know how the English fans think, and to James's point that all of a sudden England are going into international tournaments with an expectation to win. I think that growth in expectation has been, if there has been growth in expectation, has been largely outside of England. Because in my experience, every single tournament, every single England fan expected England to win.